Waddlers, good morning. Today, there's definitely something in the air. And by something, I mean Minecraft 1.22. You've heard about it. Last week, they announced it. In less than 2 weeks' time, the next major Minecraft update, it'll be fully revealed. We know nothing about this next Minecraft update. Or do we? Because there's kind of hints everywhere. For flexing rights, call it down below. What do you think the main theme of Minecraft 1.22 will be? Here are some of the biggest updates that I think Mojang has been hinting at relatively recently. Laddies, our first one. We've been saying it for years, but come on. I mean, Mojang, sooner or later, it's gotta be time, right? There's not even too much that needs to be said with this one. Java Edition, Bedrock Edition, we already know. Combat, it's so different on either version of the game. Like, it's awkwardly different. In the year of 2025, how is this still a thing? The combat system, either version of the game, there's no way I could talk about all of the differences here today. That'd be the whole video. Instead, what I wanted to focus on in today's video is some of the things relating to every change we'll be talking about that happened relatively recently. So, for example here, we have Minecraft Snapshot 25W048. This one was for Java, and it dropped in January of 2025. This was the interesting snapshot in which the capability for sword blocking was added back into the game. But it wasn't just the sword blocking thing. Instead, across many of the more technical snapshots at the beginning of this update, a bunch of new functionality and different components were added to weapons. This was all done right at the beginning in order to make weapons basically be able to have a little bit more depth. Well, if you wanted them, or shields to have a little bit more depth. Look, more functionality for the modders of the world, that's always great, but usually if Mojang will allocate the time and resources and commitment to different features behind the scenes, well, they're going to relate to something that's on the way in the vanilla game in some way. With it now having been 5 years since the last combat update and parity being the ever-present focus of Mojang nowadays, it's gotta happen sooner or later, right? Maybe now's the time. With only additional context in hindsight, will I begin to understand why the spring drop update, why this update implemented Greaser Chicken, all of the other cold mobs, and then, well, then stop there. Nothing else at all for the cold biomes. What? Like the low-hanging fruit, there was so many. Don't send me on the snow logging tangent, but also snowy leaves. On Minecraft Bedrock, we've got this cool thing that happens when a leaf gets cold, meaning snow touches it, it turns white. There are also a bunch of other little things. Oh, penguins, we did you so dirty. You never even had a chance. Maybe new cold structures. Absolutely, more cold plants. There are so many things, of course, that Mojang could dump into the snowy biomes, and maybe that's what they're planning on doing. Perhaps the spring drop, it was only just the tip of it for these cold biomes, and they've got even more gigantic overhauls coming to this place soon. After all, Polar Bear kind of looks like it's from the 90s still, right? I'm kind of shocked that Mojang didn't even say add sand ambiance, except this time it's ice ambiance. When you have a bunch of ice blocks placed on the surface, maybe they make some kind of cool mystical sound while you walk around. Would have fit perfect for the snowy biomes. Maybe their halfway neglectfulness to the cold biomes will make sense in hindsight down the line, but right now, it just feels so weird that the things were touched, but hardly even inside of the spring drop. For today, I really wanted to dive into the themes that were popping off at this very moment. Like there's relatively recent hints or things going on in the community that point towards it. Season. What in the world? What happened? At the turn of this year, seasons were all the rage. With all of the different hints and allegations that we dove in together, there were so many, by the way. It seemed like this new drop was primed to finally implement a season mechanic to vanilla Minecraft. Then, well, then they went ahead and ghosted us. But look, maybe there's hope. What if the spring drop was the final setup for the actual season's update? After all, how amazing would it be if in the fall season, well, what if fall actually falled, with leaves falling on the ground and generating near trees, but only in fall? Season update hints, there are so many, and honestly, even more new ones since I made this initial video, but like the combat update thing, like the dimension thing we'll talk about in a minute, the season thing, there's honestly a whole lot more to it. So I'm gonna keep it moving, but I wouldn't be floored if this next update turns out to be a season's update. In our beautiful spring drop, which, by the way, still so obsessed with this panorama. But in our beautiful spring drop here, something interesting happened. The villager trade rebalance toggle. It basically got cut, like, way in half, with a bunch of features being pulled out and dropped into the vanilla game. Despite what that panorama says, there's not really much of a theme to this update. Like, it's not really just a warm biome update. Instead, I guess you could say the theme of this update is just the overworld in general, or maybe exploration. With that being the case, what happened to the minecart updates? Oh man, these minecart updates. So at this point, I think it's been like over half of a year since we've had any significant changes to these things, but oh, my heart, my mind, it still carries these things through every waking day rent-free. I'm obsessed. I love it. Why? With the movement all about exploration, so kind of movement and transportation, and with villager updates being randomly thrown into this update, I would have sworn this was the moment for the minecart changes to actually be implemented too. Unless there's a better moment coming soon. Combined with those fancy minecart changes and kind of relating to them in a way, a couple of years back, 5 years back, maybe it was 4 years ago, we've talked about it quite a bit. Mojang was experimenting with some interesting elytra adjustments, and then they basically went ahead and scrapped them. At the time, they did mention that they wanted to circle back around to working on the elytra and maybe balancing it out a little bit more. Perhaps Mojang is going to circle back around to the elytra and also the minecart updates for some sort of big transportation overhaul in this next update. Paraphrasing, according to Nenbom in a relatively recent Tidzimi interview, if an experiment is going to be added to an update, it's gotta fit that update. It does feel like there's a lot of opportunity for like a rideable water mob or something, right? Weather. It's one of the most outdated mechanics in all of Minecraft. Now, a couple of years ago, Mojang went ahead and did one of the most amazing little updates to Java Edition where you can basically adjust the snow accumulation height. This was a parody update at the time, and it's great. Unless you know to adjust this game rule before you jump into a world, though, it's still kind of unused in the vanilla game. Snow logging. Don't even get me started. Don't put me anywhere near. You don't want to send me down that rabbit hole again. Something like overhauling the weather system in Minecraft, this seems like it would go hand in hand with a season update. With all of the beautiful new ambiance, the plants, the mobs added to the desert inside of this update, it's kind of crazy to slide into this thing in the middle of a rainstorm and it's just dead silent. Also, still feels like one of the greatest ways to finally get a little bit of sand renewability into vanilla Minecraft is to implement some sort of sandstorm mechanic where we can walk over to the desert, let the storm, and then harvest the layers for pieces of sand. Everything we've talked about so far today, of course I think it could be 1.22, but if I had to hone in and maybe take like my best possible guess, well, I think 1.22 at this point will probably involve something with the Badlands update and maybe the other ones too. The Badlands update will start here. Vultures. The idea of a bird being implemented into Minecraft, and not only is it so cool, but it is also one of the most highly requested things from the Minecraft community. Like, how do we have all of the space for the birds and literally nothing at all? Look, I'll be honest, I would have really thought that the Badlands update, the tumbleweed, the new prickly pear cactus, these would have been the perfect updates, excuse me, sir. Well, these updates, I mean, they would have been perfect for the current to drop, the spring drop. With all of those other warm ambiance and updates inside of it, how did it not happen? I don't know. But this interview right here, it was between Tidzimi, a Polish Minecraft YouTuber, and Nenbom, an official Minecraft developer. At one point in this 3-part interview epic saga, when asked what update Nenbom would love to see next, he gestured to the strange posters behind him, coincidence I don't think so, and said, these things right here. Alongside the Badlands update poster that was right behind him, the Desert update poster was sitting right back there too. It would make a whole lot of sense too, in an update that possibly implements all of the Badlands features. Also, alongside those, implement the Desert update features as well. We're talking palm trees, an oasis sub-biome, and meerkats. What the meerkats will actually do in vanilla Minecraft, I have no clue. Maybe they will just literally dig into the ground and do nothing else. I don't know. Palm trees, we're at an interesting point now, with this most recent Minecraft to drop not implementing a new wood type. Well, it's not that I think for sure that means a new wood will be in the next update, but I do think that it raises our chances quite a bit. Give us a little bit of hopium? I don't know. Perhaps maybe the devs have been cooking up something else, and we're gonna have a biome variant of the Badlands biome with the vulture, and maybe a biome variant of the desert with the palm tree, or even a beachy ocean update instead. The biggest thing is this interview, though. How Nenbom had phrased it, it was so sus, and just the posters being on the wall behind him, too, it all feels like some sort of gigantic hint or teaser at this next big update. On our scale of likelihood in this today, this thing is near the bottom, but even at the bottom, there is hope. The Minecraft movie, its premise seems to be clearly all about the piglins and how they're evil, overtaking the overworld. Perhaps it's just a reference to Minecraft Legends, or perhaps it's a reference to something coming to Minecraft soon. One of the ways that I feel Mojang could take this potential update is, of course, with the implementation of a brand new boss, perhaps one of the things from the movie, and then alongside that one, to beef it up a little bit more, a bunch of new piglin variants implemented as well. This update could also fit hand in hand with a new combat update, implementing new weapons that the piglins have. And I mean, yeah, if you think about it, the piglin, clearly, they're a very advanced species. The movie focuses on how there's so many of them, Legends focuses on how there's so many of them, I think there's even more of them maybe in Minecraft Dungeons as well. With how much emphasis these things seem to get in every single Minecraft spin-off, it feels like eventually they'll expand them in the vanilla game too. The timing is no less than perfect. A Nether update 2.0. With the Nether exploring and expanding upon the Nether, why not the vanilla update too? Ooh, baby. The 1.22 is this one. I mean, the internet will break. Everything will be over. A dimensional update. At this point in time, that ancient city portal, it's growing dusty, crusty, and old. If this thing was already ancient, add on a couple of more years past the wild update, and it's like ancienter ancient. A dimension update. Since the dawn of time, and on a more recent scale, since the implementation of more dimensions into vanilla Minecraft, we've always wanted more. If you missed it somehow and couldn't tell, that relatively recent Digzimi Nembon interview, well, it was a juicer. There's so much spicy stuff inside of it. On the topic of a new dimension update, the legendary legend himself, Nembon, said something along the lines of, well, look, we don't necessarily have to update everything else first to implement a new dimension. Maybe we will, but maybe our rules or the game plan has changed a little bit. Of course, it could mean nothing, but at the same time, if the rules have changed internally, well, I mean, look, why would the rules change internally if they didn't have a reason to actually change those internal rules? That's right, you wouldn't. They definitely wouldn't change their MO or thought process on when a dimension update could actually happen. You chuck that little thing Nenbon said recently into the ever-growing pile of hints for a new Minecraft dimension update. Of course, there are so many more hints, but again, today, we're taking a look at a bunch of different themes. Not a 2-hour Minecraft 1.22 Minecraft epic. Smash the like, let's move on. Last but not least today, definitely, the underground. Think about it. It's been an eternity since this thing was last touched in a Minecraft update. Like, the last time the devs did anything substantial with the underground, that was way back in 1.19 with the Deep Dark biome. Minecraft is a game literally about mining. It's in the title. It's kind of crazy to think that in the modern era, underground, we have a total of 3 biomes, and then the rest of it, there's just no biome at all. Like, can you imagine if the surface was kind of like that, where there are biomes in some spots and then huge gaping holes where there's just nothing at all? Mojang usually likes to rotate themes of an update, so if one update, say the spring drop update, doesn't do it, well then there's more of a chance that the next following update will implement something like it, be it a wood type or a cave biome. Now look, this really could be nothing at all, like just the smallest thing, the name of the after show, but we've also prepared an after show. This is about Minecraft Live. In fact, it's so special, we've decided to give it its own name, The Deep Dig. The Deep Dig. I mean, look, really, it could be nothing. That could also be the perfect name for an after show that takes place under the ground. So what do you think? Minecraft 1.22, what will it be? Stay tuned, subscribe, because in less than 2 weeks' time, we're gonna know. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. If you enjoy the videos that I cook up and you'd like a little bit more, consider tapping that join button today. There's a link down below to become one and with a little bit more info. It's been me, Waddles. Thank you for watching. I will see you all tomorrow. Goodbye, everyone.